Have you ever paused in silence, truly in silence, and felt that even the air was breathing you? That the wind wasn't just brushing against your skin, but whispering secrets your heart alone could understand? That, my friend, is where the real path begins, not in temples or rituals, but in the trembling stillness between your breaths. Shams Tabrizi teaches that in every particle of the universe, you can find the attributes of God. He is not confined to a mosque, a temple, a church, or a synagogue, for he is everywhere, in every moment. No one has seen him and lived, nor seen him and died. Whoever truly finds him remains in him forever. What a vast ocean contained in so few words. Every leaf, every grain of sand, every drop of rain reflects his presence. If these words touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, so more souls can awaken to the beauty within every breath. Have you ever felt that the universe itself is alive, watching, breathing, and speaking to you in silence? They are mirrors reflecting one face, but we pass by them as if blind, searching for God in places where walls echo our prayers, but hearts stay asleep. You have been taught to seek him in holy places. Yet the Sufi says there is no place that is not holy. God does not dwell in the buildings we build for him. He dwells in the breath that enters your lungs this very second. The friend cannot be confined. He is the pulse within all pulses, the silence beneath all sounds. Shams Tabrizi lived this truth. When he met Rumi, he turned a scholar into a lover, a preacher into a flame. Rumi knew the scriptures, but Shams Tabrizi made him feel the fire of the words. Once Rumi asked, "Where do you find God?" Shams Tabrizi answered, "Everywhere I look," and Rumi wept, for he realized that knowledge without presence is just a shadow. You and I, we often live among shadows. We speak of love, but we love our own image. We talk of God, but worship our thoughts. Shams Tabrizi tears those veils. He says he is not in the mosque, nor the church, nor the synagogue. Why? Because as soon as you say, "Here he is," you have already lost him. God cannot be contained, not even in your idea of him. When I was younger, I searched for him in the lines of sacred books, in the sermons of wise men, in the noise of rituals. I listened, I memorized, I believed. But the more I searched, the more distant he seemed. One day, standing under the vast night sky, I looked up and felt a quiet truth rise within me. He has been here all along, waiting for me to stop looking outward. That night the stars became verses, the darkness a revelation. I realized what Shams Tabrizi meant. The whole cosmos is a prayer if your heart is awake. The Quran says, wherever you turn there is the face of God. Do you see how this verse and the words of Shams Tabrizi breathe the same air? The seeker who turns in every direction and finds him in all is free. The one who limits him to form, to image, to doctrine, is imprisoned by his own thoughts. Every religion began with the touch of truth. But over time, humans built walls around it. The prophets came to break those walls, not to create new ones. Shams Tabrizi knew this. He wanted us to feel what the prophets felt: awe, surrender, intimacy. When Moses asked to see God, the mountain shattered and he fell unconscious. No one can see him and live, not because he hides, but because our eye must dissolve before the infinite. That is what Shams Tabrizi means when he says no one has seen him and lived. To live in the presence of God, the self must die, not the body, but the illusion of separateness. When that illusion dies, you live eternally in Him. You do not vanish. You become vast. You realize you were never apart from Him. Every breath you ever took was His mercy whispering through you. Do not fear this death, my friend. It is the sweetest surrender. The Sufis call it Fi, the annihilation of the self and the beloved. Shams Tabrizi lived in Efe. He walked through the market through dust and noise, yet his heart was in union. He was nowhere and everywhere. He would look at a stranger and see God's face. And when Rumi saw that, he too began to dissolve. The lovers of God often appear mad to the world. But tell me, who is truly sane? The one who clings to illusions, or the one who surrenders to love? The drunkard of the tavern of truth, or the merchant counting the coins of his ego? The Sufi walks barefoot across both worlds, laughing and reaping, knowing that every tear, every joy, every pain is a thread in the tapestry of the divine. Let me tell you a story from the Masnavi of Rumi. Once a man came to a saint and said, "I want to see God." The saint smiled and said, "Then look at me." The man grew angry. "How dare you?" The saint replied, "You see me as a man, but if you looked without the eyes of judgment, you would see nothing but Him." This is the essence of Shams Tabrizi. This Tabrizi's teaching. He wants to burn away the eyes that divide so you can see with the heart that unites. God hides Himself in plain sight, in the beggar, in the child, in the stranger who smiles at you. If you seek Him in distant heavens, you will miss Him on earth. When you wash your hands, when you break bread, when you breathe, He is closer than your own pulse. But how do we awaken to this presence? The first step, Shams Tabrizi would say, is to stop pretending. Stop pretending to be wise, to be pious, to be spiritual. Drop the masks. When you stand naked in your soul's poverty, the beloved rushes to clothe you in His light. The path is not about becoming something. It is about unbecoming everything that is not Him. Shams Tabrizi was not gentle in his love. He was fire. He burned Rum's comfort, reputation, and learning until only the heart remained. That is the way of true love. It does not decorate you. It devours you. But when the fire is done, what remains is gold. You too will be tested by this fire. There will be moments when you feel abandoned, lost, torn between your longing and your fears. In those moments, remember the pain you feel is His touch. Every ache is a doorway. Every silence is an invitation. Sometimes we think the beloved has turned away, but He is only drawing us deeper. The absence you feel is not punishment. It is purification. The heart must be hollowed out to be filled with light. Rumi said the wound is the place where the light enters you, and that light is the same radiance that Shams Tabrizi speaks of, the reflection of God in every particle. Look around you now. The room you sit in, the sound of this voice, the beat of your heart, all of it is a single act of God. To realize this is to awaken from the dream of separation. You might ask, how can I remain in that awareness? The answer is not in words but in love. Keep turning toward Him in everything. When you eat, remember His generosity. When you breathe, remember His mercy. When you suffer, remember His wisdom. Slowly the veil between you and the world will thin, and you will truly see that every atom dances in His praise. In the Quran it says, there is nothing that does not glorify Him, but you do not understand their praise. This is the hidden song Shams Tabrizi heard in everything. Listen closely. The trees are reciting, the rivers are praying, even the stones are remembering, only the human forgets. So remember, my friend, not through effort, but through surrender. God is not found by climbing, but by falling into love, into silence, into the vastness that holds all. When you realize that He is everywhere, even in your confusion, even in your mistakes, then your heart will soften. You will stop judging yourself. Stop dividing the world into sacred and profane. You will see that every experience, every encounter is a mirror showing you another face of the Beloved. That is the beginning of Baqa, the eternal abiding in God after the self is gone. This is what Shams Tabrizi meant. Whoever finds Him remains in Him forever. The seeker does not disappear. He becomes the song through which God sings Himself. Stay with me, friend. The journey deepens from here. In the next part, we will walk together into the fire of this love, where every illusion melts, and the heart becomes the mirror of the divine. When you begin to see the world as Shams Tabrizi, as Tabrizi saw it, everything changes. You no longer ask, where is God? But rather, where is He not? Every step becomes a prayer. Every glance a revelation. The universe unfolds like a scripture without letters, a sacred book written in colors, sounds, and breaths. And yet we are forgetful creatures. We live as if life belongs to us, as if time is ours to spend. But the truth, my friend, is that time belongs to Him. Breath belongs to Him. Even the longing to find Him is His longing through you. You are not the seeker. You are the sought. You are not the lover. You are the Beloved's echo remembering itself through a human heart. This is why Shams Tabrizi says whoever finds Him remains in Him forever. Because once the mirror of the heart reflects the infinite, it can never return to being dust. Once you have tasted that presence, no other flavor satisfies. You may still walk in the market, speak with others, laugh and weep, but something within you has shifted forever. I once met an old dervish who told me, the first time I felt God was not during prayer, but when I forgave someone I thought I could never forgive. He said that in that moment his chest opened and he felt a light that had no source. Then I knew, he said, that He had been waiting for me in that act all along. Isn't that what Shams Tabrizi teaches us? That the divine hides not only in beauty, but in the brokenness that asks to be healed, in the person who wounds you, in the silence after loss, in the longing that won't let you sleep. There He is calling you home. To find Him is not to escape life, but to see life as it truly is. The dance of His attributes, mercy, majesty, patience, wrath, compassion, wisdom. Each moment reveals one face of the same one. The ocean cannot be known by touching one wave. You must enter the sea, but entry requires trust. It requires that you leave behind what you think you know. Shams Tabrizi would often say to his students, break your idols, even the idols of your understanding. What are those idols today? For some they are beliefs, for others success, comfort, certainty. The Sufi walks with empty hands, for how can you grasp the infinite if your palms are full of your own treasures? When you truly open yourself, something begins to shift. Your prayers are no longer requests but conversations. You stop speaking to God and begin speaking with Him, or sometimes not speaking at all, just listening. That is when silence becomes the loudest form of devotion. There is a story told among Sufis of a disciple who prayed each night, my Lord, for 40 years. One night, exhausted, he said, I have called you for so long, but you have never answered. That night he fell asleep in sorrow and dreamed of Hither, the mystical guide who said, "Your calling, my Lord, was my calling to you. Every longing you felt was my voice through your heart." So it is with us. Every yearning for truth, every ache for meaning, every tear shed in the dark, all of it is God remembering himself through his creation. When you realize this, you stop seeking far away. You bow not to reach him, but because you have already found him everywhere. The path, however, is not without storms. The more you awaken, the more illusions crumble. You may lose friends who no longer understand you. You may lose comfort, certainty, even identity. But remember, gold is purified only in fire. Shams Tabrizi knew this. That's why he appeared in Rumi's life like lightning. He shattered his world so could see the sky. The same happens to you. Love will come and tear down your walls. The fire will consume your false self. But what remains will be luminous. That is not destruction. It is birth. The Sufis call it the death before death. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, said, "Die before you die." Hadith al-Risala. This is not about the body's death, but the surrender of ego. When the ego dies, the soul breathes freely. You no longer chase meaning. You become it. You no longer beg for love. You are love. That is the eternal life Shams Tabrizi. As Tabrizi speaks of to remain in him forever. Imagine for a moment that you stand at the edge of an ocean. You cup your hands and take a little water. That small cup is your mind. The ocean is God. When you look into the cup, you see a reflection, tiny, contained. But if you pour it back into the sea, the reflection disappears, and yet it has become one with the vastness. That is fauna and baka, the disappearance of self and the eternal abiding in the beloved. When Rumi reached this state, he no longer saw Shams Tabrizi as a man. He saw him as the mirror of the divine. That's why after Shams Tabrizi vanished, Rumi said, "Why should I seek? I am the same as he. His essence speaks through me." This was not arrogance, but unity. The realization that there is no two, only one. My friend, this truth cannot be understood with the mind. It must be lived with the heart. Words can only point. The experience is silence. If you listen between these words, perhaps you will feel it. That stillness humming beneath everything. That is him. You may wonder, but how can I live this truth in the world? The answer is gently with awareness. When you speak, let your words heal. When you walk, let your steps be prayers. When you see someone suffering, remember the beloved hides behind their eyes. To love them is to love him. The world is aching for hearts that remember. Be one of them, not by preaching, but by being. Shams Tabrizi never wrote books. He lit hearts. Rumi did not build temples. He built souls. Let your life too become a poem of remembrance. And if sometimes you forget, as we all do, return to breath. The breath is the bridge between the seen and the unseen. Each inhale as he enters, each exhale as I disappear. Practice this remembrance in small ways, and the infinite will make itself known in the ordinary. One day you will sit quietly and realize that nothing was ever ordinary. Every cup of tea, every sunrise, every heartbeat was a secret meeting with him. And you will smile, a soft smile, the smile of recognition, because you will know that he has never left. Do you remember the words of the Quran? We are closer to you than your jugular vein. That closeness is not poetic. It is reality. You were swimming in him, breathing him, living him. The tragedy is not that God is hidden. It is that we have forgotten how to see. But you are remembering now. Even listening to these words is part of that remembrance. Something in you is stirring, rising like dawn. Do not rush it. The flower of the heart opens in its own time. Trust the process. The Beloved knows the rhythm of your soul better than you do. There will come a day, perhaps soon, when you will stand in front of a mirror and no longer see a face. You will see only light, the reflection of the reflection. You will smile, and in that smile, He will smile through you. That is what it means to remain in Him forever. So what remains now? Gratitude. Gratitude for the breath, for the journey, for the longing that led you here. For Shams Tabrizi, who reminds us that the divine is not elsewhere but here now, in the dust and the stars, in this very moment. My dear friend, if this path has touched something in you, if these words have reminded you of what your soul has always known, then let your heart speak. Leave a comment, share your reflection, or simply write this. He is everywhere. And if this journey nourishes you, stay close. Subscribe, share, and walk with us, because you are not alone. As we are all seekers drinking from the same hidden spring. Remember, wherever you are, whatever you face, the Beloved is not outside your life. He is your life. Every step you take is a step within Him. Every breath you draw is His name unspoken. So close your eyes for a moment. Feel your heart beating. That pulse, it isn't yours. It's His eternal rhythm playing through you. And now smile, for you have never been apart. Tell me, when was the last time you truly felt His presence within you? If these words touched your soul, like, share, and subscribe, and let's keep walking this path of light together.